Well, hey artists, welcome back to the art room, coming to you from my kitchen again today. So in continuation with our cool art paper series that we did, using all sorts of different techniques, right? Bubbles, using printing in either whipped cream or shaving cream, doing the salt paper. What else am I forgetting? Oh yeah, our homemade watercolors, right? So many cool different papers. We could make salt paper, right? Got a whole collection of them. One of the most fun things to do, other than these being gorgeous pieces of artwork themselves, is to actually turn these papers into other things. Okay, so last time we were together, we talked about doing tape designs or tape drawings, where we tape off sections of our art papers and we do drawing work and other cool color effects over top of them, and then we have the grid of our tape lines left behind, and then we can continue to draw over it. Right? You could even just free draw over top of these papers themselves. Why not? Right? It just makes a gorgeous base for some artwork. But today, what I wanted to cover is pop-ups. Pop-ups, we're getting to card season. Mother's Day is coming up. Father's Day is coming up. You know what I'm saying? And you can use your art papers to create really cool pop-ups. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about that today. So this pop-up here is a pretty elaborate large one. I'm going to show you two simple pop-ups, a vertical and a horizontal, and then how to do a basic assemble of it. Now, if you didn't make any art papers, guess what? You can still make pop-ups using any old household materials you've got around. So you can do it with paper out of the recycle bin. I'm a huge fan of working with scraps of magazine paper to create art, doing collage and stuff, because it's usually something we got lying around, right? Like junk mail catalogs and stuff. It usually has really gorgeous colors to it, and you can do some really cool art with that as well. So if you don't have art papers to work with, find what you got, right? Any old paper will do. In fact, in this case, I'm just using some leftover index cards right now, but I could easily get an envelope out of the recycle bin. It's totally work. Okay, so first let's talk about the two different bases for pop-ups. We can have a vertical pop-up, okay, which uses this little V fold, or we can have a horizontal pop-up, which uses this little shelf fold here. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to make both of these. It's really pretty simple, and then we'll talk a little bit more about a complex assemblage. So I'm just going to grab two of my leftover index cards that I've got here, and we're going to start by folding them both. One will leave horizontal, one will do vertical. So I'm just going to fold it in half, so I've got a card shape. Now I have to think back to those elementary days. We're holding it the hamburger way. We're folding it the hamburger way, not the hot dog way. There we go. It all comes back to you. All right, so first let's start with a basic vertical card. So we want to open our card left to right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my scissors, and I'm going to make a little snip. Oop, it would help because we want to probably do the art on the nice inside side. So let's try that again. Hey, look at that. Right? We'll do our art in there. I mean, you know what? You could have the lines on the inside. It's your artwork. For this one, I'll do that on the inside. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to just make a little snip. Okay, in the side of the card. Now, believe it or not, it's as simple as just a little snip, and then you're going to take that loose corner and you're going to fold it on a diagonal and give it a really good crease back and forth. Okay, then what you're going to do is you're going to push on this part of the fold here. Can everybody see that? I'm going to push that through like so it folds down, and then you're going to press again. And what this does is as the card opens, now the tension is reversed on this fold, and it'll pull these two sides up. And what you'll do is you'll attach any pieces or shapes you've got made. I've got some pre-made shapes over here that are going on a more elaborate card I've made, but you'll attach it to a side, a couple glue dots there, right, and your piece will fold up, and you can have multiple things attached to either side. You just got to keep testing it, folding it, and opening it to make sure that the pieces aren't catching on themselves. Okay, so that's vertical. So vertical like that. Horizontal, it's just as easy, except this time you're doing two even size cuts. Instead of folding on a diagonal, you're folding just straight across horizontally, like so. So I'm going to crease once, twice back and forth. Same thing, you're gonna open it up, and then you push this through. Can you see that? Just one more time. All right, so I've snipped. I'm gonna open up, I'm gonna push on the spine here. I'm gonna pop that through, like so. Like that. And then squish it on down. And you've got a shelf, just like so. Okay, so we can glue pieces to the front here, okay, and they will pop up. Let me show you that, right? So let's take one of my little flowers again and put it on the front. And then when you open the card, it pops up like so, okay? So real simple. Now these are the base interiors that you'll build your pieces on, but you can do the pop-up on more elaborate paper. So the second thing you'll need, okay, other than your base, is an exterior to stick and glue your base into. So what you'll do is put Elmer's glue. If you don't have Elmer's glue, you can even tape this in here. You can use glue sticks. I got glue dots from the Dollar Tree. And glue dots, if you're unfamiliar with them, these little sticky circles. Use whatever you've got available. Like I said, tape can work. You can make glue work. Whatever you got is gonna work for us, okay? So you're gonna glue down both sides, okay, of this inside another piece of paper. It can be plain paper, it can be your art paper, it can be magazine paper, because we want to cover to kind of hide what's happening in the back here. So let me show you what that looks like in a more complex one. So here are two of my papers I've made. This was the whipped cream paper, right, kind of marbled looking. This is some of the salt paper on the inside. And so what I did is I did just the horizontal cuts. This is the same thing. This is the same thing. It just happens to be on my salt paper. And you can see I've glued it, okay, inside of this paper cover. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna attach my pop-ups. So using some of my art papers, I made a little pond grass. And I've already got the glue dots, right, because I'm doing a video demo, so I already pre-put the glue dots on there. So you wouldn't have to watch me, you know, pick and put glue dots together for an hour, which would be silly. Okay, so there's some of my grass on my pond as it opens up. And then I'm also going to add, I'm going to take one of my homemade watercolors. So these are the homemade watercolors I showed you guys in a previous video. I thought that just looked like a really beautiful sunset. So I grabbed another salt paper and made a little sun. Again, same thing, I got glue dots all over the back of this. And so I pre-cut it to size. I'm gonna assemble it kind of collage art style. Ooh, boy, that homemade watercolor does get powdery though once it's done, but you know, it still makes beautiful color. Still love it. Okay, so that's glued in there. So now I've got my pop-up with my little sunset, and then I just made some of these cute little tulip flowers. Okay, I can go right in there with it, and I'm just going to stick them on down right across in a row. And then these pond lilies were made with the same homemade watercolor paper too, or homemade watercolor paint as well. Homemade watercolor paper. Oh, we're not getting that fancy yet. Okay, and there it is. And these all just, I pre-put little glue dots on the back of them. But again, any glue you have, you could use tape rolls, you could use liquid Elmer's, glue sticks, whatever you have will work. Be creative. And again, if you don't have the watercolor papers that we did, that's okay. Do your own drawings, right? Do some of your own freehand drawings. Colored pencil, crayon on index card. Use just regular ballpoint pen. Do some collage work with these cool magazine pictures. If you've got scrap magazines lying around, find just some good old paper out of the recycle bin. You never know what you got to work with. And there it is. There's my little pop-up. So this is the horizontal one, right? And when I open it up, they're all just attached to that front shelf. And ooh, I gotta stick that guy down better. And then it just pops up. And there it is. Okay, so a couple ideas for working with our homemade watercolor paper pop-ups. Okay, All right. Thanks for joining me again in the art room. And again, ladies and gents, anything you got to work with at home to do some fun, creative stuff, get the whole family involved, get everyone involved, have everybody make some different papers together or do some different drawings. Share these videos with them because, you know, creativity is not just for those of us in art class, but it's truly for everybody. All right. Thanks all. Take care, and I'll see you again soon in the art room.